it's 6 p.m. Let's call the November meeting of the Albany Public Library Board of Trustees to order. The first item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda for tonight. Do we have any modifications? If not, can I have a motion to accept the agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda.
Thank you, Alyssa. A second?
A second.
Thank you, Karen. Votes? Ayes?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Abstentions? Okay, the agenda for tonight is adopted. We have a public comment period. Is anybody here from the public that would like to make comments? No? Okay. Let's go on to adopting the minutes from the October 11th meeting. Does anybody see anything in the minutes from the October 11th meeting that needs correction? Okay, with no corrections necessary, do I have a motion to adopt the minutes from the October 11th meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Alyssa makes a motion. A second.
I second.
Thank you, Arlene. Discussion? No? Ayes?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Nays? Abstentions? None? Okay. The minutes from the October 11th meeting are adopted. Yes. Let's move on to the minutes from the October 24th special meeting. Anyone see any necessity for amendment or update to those minutes? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adopt the minutes from the October 24th special meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Arlene, thank you. A second.
I'll second it.
Alyssa seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. Ayes?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any nays? Abstentions? Okay. Minutes from the October 24th special meeting are adopted. Let's move on to the treasurer's report. Anybody here?
I have one question about in the current month. Why are we have a negative number for interest income?
That's what they call mark to market. So when we get the investment reports, and if the value of the investments at that point in time go down, we have to put it to the income statement.
Oh, I see.
Whether we do that every month, but it's not that we lost money on interest.
Yeah, I see.
Okay.
Okay. I have a question about automation, the expenses for automation. So is that just normal automation expenses that we're keeping low, or is there any reflection on the transition in automation that we had this
Are you talking
year?
about automation hardware now? Or are you talking about total automation?
Total automation.
Well,
I would say it's twofold. One is some of the upgrade to one of the upgrades that we were doing this year, we actually spent DASNY money on. So that pot of money that was out there, that was DASNY money, we used that for the wireless router upgrade.
So that's a hardware, so
Yeah.
that's why we didn't spend so much on hardware.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's about
All right.
25,000 there, and some of it is just a change in philosophy, using Chrome boxes and Chromebooks as opposed to the Windows running models and things of that nature.
yeah.
I just, given the strategic planning, the feedback we got from the community about, some people concerned about not enough computers and not working, and just wonder if, I don't want us to not spend our funds in automation if that's,
We have been spending our funds in automation. I think we've been spending them wisely.
okay.
And I think he's continuing to spend, he will continue to spend throughout the year.
Is there a reason why we're over in office and library supplies?
One, we are over, but one of the primary reasons is because we're paying for paper for our copiers. But also, I mean, we will be doing budget mods in December, putting money, but this is, all our office and library supplies are approved by all the librarian managers. So it's just for programs and activities that people need. But also, paper is now in that number. In the past, it used to be a part of our copier costs.
So now we're buying bulk paper. We did a considerable cut in that budget line last year,
Yeah,
and we've seen it creep up this year.
right. Rate on heat and electricity.
I know, I saw that, that's good news.
Unless there are any additional questions about the treasurer's report, we can move on to the check registry.
You have a new check register in front of you. The new checks are from check number 6308 on. There's just one minor change. I didn't make more photocopies because I didn't want to waste the paper. Check number 6272, the Hartford, that should just be deemed insurance. It's not workman's comp insurance. It's our annual insurance bill for our buildings.
Liability,
Yeah, I mean, coverage and fire and
and that's the
everything.
whole thing once a year?
Yeah, and then we'll put it to prepaid insurance, and then you get monthly expenses on the
Mhm.
treasurer's report. If you want me to go over the major checks, I mean, the only other big check there is check 6324 Dow Electric. That's New York State construction grant. We're building a baby feeding room on the first floor in Washington Avenue. And check 6319 Ann Ackerson. That was $6,000 for the focus groups that she's held and $3,000 for the retreat.
Do I have a motion to adopt the check register? Karen, Andy seconds. Moving on to the vote, if there is no discussion. Seeing none, ayes?
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Thank you, the check register is adopted. Let's move on to committee reports. Tonight we have a committee report from the Policy and Procedures Committee, is that correct? Do we have any committee reports?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. Let's move on to the review of the Policies and Procedures grid.
No major changes. It was updated to reflect last month's votes on the core policies. So it's just brought up to date. Our next review of policies will be in December. Or actually, I think at the end of this month.
Do we have any discussion on the Policies and Procedures grid? As always, Melanie, thank you for all your excellent work on that. Let's move on to the Director's reports.
So I'm very excited to announce that the simplified and streamlined library card registration process has been working well at both Pine Hills and Bach. And I've been told we'll be launching that system-wide December 1st. We've started our negotiations. We've now met 4 times since this report's been written, and we will be meeting again tomorrow. That's our negotiations with our local unit. Facility staff have started their first of 4 trainings with capital EAP. The response from that part of our workforce has been fairly positive. They seem like they're having a good time, they're getting to know each other better, and they're working on communication, and we have seen an improvement in their work. We have been working very hard on refinancing the bond, which we will update you later on that. A quote that I wanted to read from our last survey, which is, "So often in the community, the library is underfunded, dreary, out of date, kind of anachronistic. Not so with APL. All the branches are terrific places to visit, they're modern and useful, the buildings are terrific, and the library is a great asset to the community." I just wanted to share that with the group because I think it's important for everybody to hear, especially board members who put a lot of hard work into making sure the library runs. We launched our Price Chopper job application pilot at the Washington Avenue branch. This got us a lot of press, but it also really impressed the Human Resources Department at Price Chopper. And when I met them briefly, they told me that other organizations have reached out to them and are interested in doing something similar with us. We have a new head of youth services who was formerly the branch librarian here, and therefore now we have a new branch librarian here. We think we've got some really good people in place. They're both homegrown, so we're very happy about that. The Real Talk program was done with the Alliance for Positive Health at our Arbor Hill branch. This is a very popular program with the teens. We tried to have a meeting there one day, and they were adamant that they needed the room for this program. It's been very popular, and I think it creates a really good relationship between the staff and the teens there. Box circulation, again, is up. So far this year, it's up 7%. They've noticed it interesting, and I think it's interesting to see the numbers. The numbers really haven't changed that much, but it's an interesting change in the attendance that is actually, the kids aren't coming after school in as large of a number as they had been in the past. And I can tell you, I know this for a fact, the after-school programs have begun at the school, and their numbers really haven't changed that much, but what they've noticed is the atmosphere is a little more positive, it's a little quieter, and they're seeing more adults coming in after school, and they've noted that in their part of the report. The hotspots and Chromebooks are out, and the hotspots are as popular, if not more popular, than the tablet program. Again, we took the tablets that provided Wi-Fi and we replaced them with basically they're black boxes that have the same ability, but they can't be used themselves as devices, and they're flying out the door. Our Delaware branch, which we're sitting in right now, is having a monthly mic drop program. And I think I talked about this at the last board meeting. It's a really great, just come by when they're doing it. You watch teens get to pick up instruments and make music, and it's really fun to watch, and I think the kids really get a lot out of it. Youth services at the Hal branch are doing a cooking club with Price Chopper. They did one for National, this is probably why it's in my report, for National Taco Day on October 4th. Which was that, a Tuesday? It was a Tuesday? Okay, that's what's important. And they had more than 30 kids chopping and slicing and sauteing things to fix delicious tacos. And then the North Albany branch, and I want to compare two things. They really wanted to emphasize in their report how they're doing a lot of book displays and how they're really marketing their collection. And it shows, because for this year so far, they've seen an 11% increase in their book circulation. So again, it can be done. And like we saw with Arbor Hill, the year-over-year comparison, the numbers still negative, but we're seeing a growth in the actual circulation there. So it's a trend that we're happy about, and you can go to either of these branches and just see the fact that they're displaying and they're marketing items, and that's really what's, I think, important, and that's really, I think, what's gonna bring circulation to healthier numbers. E-books, again, because I think you will all hear it in the community. We're trying very hard to change the budget and change the way we do purchasing, so that's $80,000 in state money that was taken out will not create as large of a hole in that collection as we thought. And because we are the central reference library and we are in charge of this collection, CMS is really taking this as a collection management system, is really taking this, they're really leading this charge, especially Gen D, to kind of make sure we mitigate, that loss in money. And then we've installed the additional 2 bike racks thanks to Capital Roots. So we now have the bicycle repair stations at Howe and Pine Hills, and we have one for Washington Avenue, which will be put in once the CDTA project is done. So that's it for the oral part of my report, and I'll accept any questions.
Questions for Scott?
So, the Price Chopper, employment, relationship, where do you sort of imagine that going?
I think I know Price Chopper is interested in continuing the program. What happens is individuals from their HR department sit in our Tompkins lab and they help people work through the application process.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd like to grow that, and we'd like to offer it to other organizations that are hiring, large organizations that are hiring in the area. We'd like to see it grow. We actually had Meg and Chris presenting at NILA about the programs that they do and re-entering people and entering people into the workforce. So it really fits in the model that we already have. And we'd like to, if we have a really good relationship, when we see that we're really funneling customers into their organizations and their companies, we see this as a possible funding opportunity as well.
So, along with Albany Med as top employers in the region, Price Chopper is a privately held company, so it would be really great if that translated into some kind of substantial request for support to this library, either by the foundation or by staff. We provide so much in service of our community. They are benefiting, their company is benefiting from that. So my guess is they understand that. So this is a prime time to make that known to them. And I would think Albany Med in a similar capacity. They're in a different, they're not for profit, but even so, huge employer. So this is prime. As this is, happening, we've got to come up with something. Big ask, because that's big and great. Kudos. That's a lot of work, and that's great.
I apologize if this has been covered in previous meetings and it's just escaping my memory. I noticed here under the Human Resources section of your report, under payroll, APL has moved to a new vendor to handle payroll service. Will that realize any cost savings?
It won't. It'll realize minimal cost savings. What it's done is it has allowed us to do scheduling and payroll under the same software, which will, I think, save a lot of time for individuals. It also has a human resources component to it, so we can send out information that individuals need. They can sign off, and they can also do some of their human resources signing up for things and researching things through this portal. We just think it's kind of a one-stop shop for scheduling and human resources that
That's great.
are please. Yes, I think.
So you stepped away from when to work?
We are stepping away from when to work as of January 1st.
Okay.
Any additional one? I'm sorry.
Just the mobile app card idea is a great one. I'm really curious about.
We did it. We launched that about 6 months ago, and we're realizing that we're going to start talking about a marketing calendar, because there's things I think that we need to go back and revisit, and that's one of those things. It was just I mentioned it in a blog post in the TU, and that started a great conversation online, and now there are a few more patrons out there that are using the card.
And then I'm concerned that the staff, I'm curious about what was going on with the staff in the new change to the service to children policy.
There's concerns to the change in that policy, and I think policy and governance, we discussed that, like, I think at the last meeting, we covered it at length. I mean, it's a change in the policy. There's some concerns, especially for the schools that are close to elementary schools. There was a children's librarian who, when I was doing office hours, expressed the concern that she thinks Less children will be involved in after-school programs because it's cheaper just to send their children to the library. So we're gonna continue to monitor it. I think next September will be the big test. And what we'll have to do is we'll just have to think about our presence and being ready for the staff to support the staff if they feel like they're being flooded. As of right now, we haven't seen an increase in incident reports, but this is one of those things that will slowly creep into the conscience of the public, and will, like I said, I think the real test is September of next year.
A lot of what we've discussed with the staff is the kids that have been problematic any time have all been within a 13 to 15-year-old
Yeah.
age range. So decreasing this isn't really going to affect the troublemakers per se, because the 9-year-olds aren't the troublemakers, it's the older kids who were already allowed in the library.
So it's the same concerns we heard, and I was on staff when this policy was created. It's the same concerns that staff kind of shared at that time. Our locations are different. Doing pickup of a first grader at New Scotland Elementary reminded me of the terror of 9-year-olds in the old Bach branch or the old New Scotland branch. So we'll see. They were open and they were honest, which is what we look for from our staff.
Any additional questions for Scott? Okay. Let's move on to unfinished business. An update on the bond refinancing project.
It's been a flurry of activity. It's basically Stephanie, myself, Scott, Bob, a myriad of outside consultants have been working on this. And last week we had Moody's rating presentation, which Scott and I gave. And today we were delighted to receive our bond rating, and it's AA1, which is one. It's 2 better than the school district, 2 ratings better than the school district, and 1 less than the federal government. And they were beautiful to us on the phone in terms of talking about how well the library is managed, how well the finances are, everything about the bond and the buildings and our complete story. So we were pretty thrilled today about that. Where we're going next is we have the public offering statement, which we've all been working on for weeks. Tomorrow that should be published, and then next week the bonds will go for sale, and then we expect the final pricing call to be in early December. So everything's been on schedule. It's been a lot of work, but this rating today will really help sell our bonds, and it will be great. So it's yeah.
Congratulations.
So it was a good day.
So Bob, were you saying tonight that we were 3 above? 3 above the city school district?
It's still sinking in. The chances of us getting a AA1 rating were really virtually 0. I mean, the presentation that Mary and Scott did and the information they presented to them resonated in a way that we couldn't have expected. The state of New York is AA1 rated. So the library is as fiscally strong as the state of New York. The only entities in the world that are rated higher than that are AAA rated, and they're like the United States government, something like that. It's remarkable. So who knows what goes into the Moody's black box, but it was a good day for us today. The other good news is because we're a small issuer, they don't give us an outlook, so it's not AAA1 negative or AAA1 stable. It's just AAA1. So that's good news. The bonds will be very attractive in the marketplace.
Moody's will have a press release on this, and then we will have a press release once we sell the bonds. So it was a really, we were beyond excited because we really thought the best we could do would be 1 better than the schools. So it was good.
How can we milk this? This is fabulous.
We'll get you bonds, and we'll definitely report this in the community report and when we go out to the public to do our community report.
But this is so opaque to people. People don't understand.
Oh, this is
So,
huge.
I mean, it's gotta be said, I mean, I know you'll say it in a way that makes it crystal clear that, you know,
Yeah.
this is a phenomenal rating. I mean, we're so tiny
Okay.
and you guys pulled this off.
And the board should be proud of itself. It's running a financially stable and well-regarded organization. So, should all be very proud.
When that report gets finalized, the board members should look at it. The things that they focus on are things that should continue to be the sort of central tenets of the way you're dealing with the finance of the land.
Well, not that the board ever needs to be reminded of the fantastic work that is done by the staff at APL, but
Bravo.
kudos. This is
And we'll be really happy.
I've never been in so many conference calls.
Any additional questions or comments about the bond refinancing update? The 5-year financial plan, I believe we have an update.
Well, I don't know how much, this is the same 5-year financial plan that we presented at the board retreat and that we presented at the last board meeting as well. So I don't know if you want me to go over it again. I think that we went in depth into that at the board retreat. So I have the big copies again. I mean, it's in your packet also.
It just has not changed much.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring it back up because this
Right.
will factor in when we discuss the budget modification next month.
Does anybody have any questions or comments on the financial plan for this evening? Not. Strategic plan updates.
Not a lot since we last met, which was a week ago. Anne has gotten some of kind of her notes together, presented to Melanie and I, and we're meeting her this week or next week. It might be this week. I don't even know. It's
We've had so
Tuesday.
many
It's
meetings.
Tuesday,
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I think it's this week, so we'll report out on that, but not much has changed there either, but she has gotten a lot of notes to me. And she had a pretty positive review of her experience with Saturday. She thought that was a really worthwhile endeavor and a really good exercise.
So, I can't remember what we decided that, she was going to get the report to us by when, so that the committee could be called together to work on it?
I don't have.
What's the time frame on that? I can't remember.
I may have to get back to you on that because I don't have that.
Because I remember her saying she was able to get it done within the time frame that we had
It
were
may have been
interested in.
a January 1 time frame.
For the notes? Or is it
It was today.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
good.
Go ahead.
Okay,
So is that not,
we're a little behind
we're
on
off on
We're a
that?
little behind.
Okay. So just to follow up with that, I wasn't clear at the end of the session who had all agreed to do the follow-up work. I think I had agreed to do it with others, but I don't. So it would be good to have some record of how we're moving forward with it.
Strategic Ad hoc committee.
Yeah. Because we'll have to get meetings on the calendar and, start hashing it out, I guess.
I would be interested in being involved.
Did we all sign up for it? I can't
No,
remember.
I think we signed up for it.
Okay.
But that's okay, you can sign up, nothing started yet. That was a very good session.
Good.
I was really impressed with how it went. And I really appreciated how we were joined by the staff. That was important. But I thought it was really well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion on the strategic plan update? Okay, let's move on to new business. Move a discussion on additional space usage.
So I've been pretty open about using our real estate holdings to find some way to find alternate streams of revenue for the library, particularly with our Washington Avenue branch, which we have more space with, and we really know what to do with. ACAP, which is
Albany Community Assistance Program.
Community action.
Community Action.
who runs the Head Starts in the city of Albany, expressed interest to Melanie about using Arbor Hill as a Head Start site. We do not have enough room there to do that, but we asked them to come visit us at Washington Avenue. They have found a space in the Washington Avenue branch, which may displace some staff. However, the staff, when we met with them, were actually pretty okay with the idea. So we're gonna further discussion. It's very nebulous. It's very kind of in the discussion form, but they're interested. They've been by libraries. They know that a library would be really good for them. They would love to have a classroom serving that Sheridan Hollow neighborhood. So there's a lot of interest.
What is the space?
Where CMS currently is. So it would be on the third floor, and it would be a very secure area.
Oh, okay. Would this be just one classroom?
I think it's 2 classrooms because the square footage there.
Can we start up in the
And-
pay
They would
rent?
be right.
And where does CMS go?
CMS, we're really trying to consolidate offices so we're all near each other. So CMS would go to what I refer to as the bullpen. We go to the front of the bullpen where Stephanie and Amy are right now. And at some point, I'd actually like to see all the administrative staff on that side. So Mary and I are closer to each other.
So how would that work? Because I'm back to the Head Start.
It's okay.
So they need to have place for the babies to sleep.
Yes.
We have to have bathrooms for them.
Yeah.
We have to have what would we do for them with meals?
They in most of their spaces they bring the meals in. I've seen it. I've done it. Yeah, they bring the meals in, and they would be using the elevator, which is our largest elevator, so that could definitely handle bringing the food in and out. That's why we're in kind of preliminary conversation. They're going to scope the bathrooms and see which bathroom would need to be theirs, and typically they sleep in the classrooms. The next phase is to have someone from the health.
Office of Family and Child Services?
Yes, come in and scope the space to make sure that this is okay for them to use.
So they'd have to do some security measures so
Yes.
that staff and kids don't.
Intermingle, well, they shouldn't intermingle, yes.
How would we handle fit out? Would they pay, would we pay, and we roll into the rent?
What was it?
Fit
Fit of the
up.
space.
Like the bathroom.
We would probably cover some of the changes. It's really minor changes that
Okay.
we're looking at. And, my view is they would do a multi-year lease, and the first year of the lease would pay for some of the changes that we need to make.
Okay.
And that would also kind of fit some other ideas that we've had for that space anyway.
Okay.
So it may actually work in our favor even if after 3 years they decide they don't want to be there. However, I think it's really, I hope it's a really good fit for both organizations.
So,
Their drop off is before we open, and their pickup is around 3 o'clock when our parking lot's probably, the friends have disappeared, and we've got a low, most people are picking their children up who are using the library in the afternoon. So the only thing we see is some issues with traffic and parking, but again,
Yeah, so the kids, so they're gonna do busing?
they're not going to do busing. They actually have said most of their parents walk, especially being in that location. They think it'll be attractive because so many parents will be able to walk their children and then go and catch the bus to work. So the fact that it's on a major bus line actually really helps out their project as well.
Do you know what ages of the classrooms or?
I believe 3 and 4. They said it would probably not be infants at this location. It would be the 3 to 4 year olds.
I would be real interesting to see how this is going to, how how it's designed. So I'm also thinking about, getting them out, safety things, like little drills the little people have to do.
A lot of the Head Start programs that I've done story times for in classrooms that I've been in, they've been in very interesting kind of setups. So it actually doesn't surprise me. This will probably be better than some of the setups that I've seen Head Starts in.
Okay. I love Head Start. I love the library. I'm interested. I'm curious about how the thing is going to look like. So.
I mean, not only is it a good revenue source for us, but the partnership of having them there will also help drive up some of our programming numbers because they'll obviously probably have scheduled programs with our children's library.
And also I'm thinking families. We'll be bringing families into the library. So, good.
It's great.
This is very exciting.
I thought little people.
Yeah.
Really little people. Oh my goodness gracious.
Any additional comments or questions about the space usage? Not sure that was English. Okay.
We got you.
I believe the budget modifications will be discussed at the next meeting.
Yep.
Okay, so we have that to look forward to. Quarterly evaluation of board meetings.
I have
The sheets.
the sheets. These shouldn't look new to anybody.
And this is a really helpful tool for us in doing our board packets, so please share.
Thank you.
Thank you.
During the next public comment.
If anybody can just fill those out and turn back into me by the end of the session, we'll give them to Mary.
Perfect. So we should have these completed by the end of this evening, and then we can move to awesome. Any questions, comments about these meeting evaluation forms? Nope. Okay. Next thing on the agenda is public comment. Last call.
I just had a question about the Head Start.
Yes.
You said it would be helpful because the library is on the bus line, but if the Head Start opens before the library is open, parents can't.
Parents will have to walk,
Okay.
but it's close.
Are we gonna open that alleyway on the side?
No,
or-
actually, that's being additionally secured because it's owned by the property owners there, and they're run by Carroll Real Estate. We met with Carroll Real Estate, and they want to lock that area down, so CDTA is helping them lock that area down.
Okay, but that side door is going to be open to staff in the near future?
This other side, the side with the auditorium, will
That's
be,
the side I'm talking about.
which will make life a lot easier if you're taking a bus, which I know.
Thank you. Good to see you here. Thanks for coming. All right. And the meeting is ready. Do we need a vote?
Yeah, motion.
Motion to adjourn the meeting. Karen, do I have a second? Andy, all in favor?
Aye.